Hi, this is Kurt with Friendly DevOps, a channel dedicated to DevOps and Linux related news. So I've been away for a while, and the biggest reason for that was this with my laptop 2 months ago. I've also moved my desk out of my bedroom, as you can see. This month I am celebrating my 5th year anniversary with my employer Thomson Reuters. Now, nothing I state in this video is to be taken as representing the views and opinions of Thomson Reuters or anyone else but myself. I just wanted to get that out of the way first. So far, up until this point in my life, TR has been the best work experience I've ever had. I have to give ample thanks to my manager for taking a chance on me and for acknowledging my accomplishments throughout my tenure. At this point, I don't remember all, if any, of the questions that was asked of me in my final interview, but I do know that I answered several of them incorrectly, and during that process, sensing that the interview was going sideways, I decided to ask him, what can I improve for future interviews? And his response was, I'm going to be honest with you, which made me believe I was going to be informed how utterly unqualified I was for the position. But he hired me on the spot, stating the reason for doing so was that I learned a large number of services and gained a large number of skills in a very short period of time. Before TR, my only experience was volunteering setting up a communication server for an organization called the Workers' Action Movement. For the little over a year that I volunteered there, I set up a communication server using Jitsi and the Matrix chat protocol. In so doing, I had to learn Nginx, Docker, Bash, Linux, and more. I didn't know much about the services I was deploying, but I had a knack for researching and learning exactly what needed to be done in order to accomplish my goals. And that's been how I've distinguished myself at TR for the past 5 years. I might not know about every resource, but when assigned a ticket, I will figure it out and deliver it on time. One of the many perks of working at TR is that we can receive appreciation reward points that can be redeemed for items of substantial value. And any employee can nominate another employee should they feel they took actions that were above and beyond their expected duties. On top of that, they commemorate employee milestones. For my 5th year anniversary, I was sent this figurine. Gad brain. There we go. Which is a marked improvement over the one they sent me for my 3 year anniversary. Yeah. They also provided me with a choice of a gift for myself. So I picked up this acoustic guitar. And now I finally have an acoustic to add to my collection. When I first started on, for the first 2 months, I was tasked with triggering pipelines for application deployments. Afterwards, my first project was creating the pipelines for building and deploying an application that would consume data from an API, the API gateway that served the data, a Cognito user pool that would handle the OAuth, a Lambda function that would take the API request and query a database and return a value, the database itself, the liquid-based pipeline for configuring the database and setting up the database migration process for populating the new database with tables from a legacy database. I was able to complete the initial structure in about 3 months, and I managed to roll out from the development environment until production for several months after that. My next project is the current project I am working on now, managing the infrastructure for a Redshift data lake, along with the step function-based ETLs that populate the lake with data and several applications that ingest the data from the lake. It was on this project where I ended up making a name for myself. Originally, I was assigned to the project with a senior engineer, but within the first week, that senior engineer was transferred to another department, which left me alone as we didn't have another engineer to fill that role. The general structure of the project was essentially complete by the time I joined. The scope of my work was to make several pipeline changes, performance modifications, security integration, FinOps cost reductions, vendor upgrades, and several more tasks that aren't coming to my mind at the moment, on top of regular deployments to the 5 separate environments we maintain. Less than a year later, because of my work on this project and several other initiatives, I was promoted to a senior engineer, and shortly thereafter, another engineer was assigned to work with me, freeing up my hand to work on several even more challenging tasks. Currently, we're in the process of migrating the data lake from AWS with Redshift to GCP BigQuery, and using Dataform for the transforming of the data. For me, this migration has been very enjoyable since I was able to set up many of the standards that are now being used by several teams deploying resources to GCP. I am very happy with the past 5 years that I have spent in Thomson Reuters. I have worked with a lot of great people, I gained a tremendous amount of experience, I've been repeatedly recognized for my contributions, and I continue to learn and grow on a daily basis. I'm going to leave it at there for now. But before I go, I'd like to ask you to like, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, take care.